classics. Oh! Oh!
Perfect.
Oh! What do you mean, no classics?
Ain't this some bullshit?
Man, what's good, everybody? That's Jamal_Hockey. And today, I'm back with another reaction video. Listen, people, let me go ahead and just throw this out here. I'm working with some different things. I'm working with some new angles. And if you haven't checked out some of my other videos while I'm doing it, this probably might be the last time I'm kind of introducing it like this. But boom, like I said, we care about quality over here. Separating myself from the other reaction videos out there for you guys. Boom, head back to the main view. I'm really loving the setup, the lighting and everything, and it's only going to get better and improve from here for you guys. But you gotta hit that sub button.
Facts.
You gotta make sure you smash that like button. Leave a comment down below. Check out the affiliate links down below. I'm doing these things for you guys and also for my own well-being, because obviously I like sharing and talking to the camera and to the audience. You feel me?
Of course.
You feel me, right? And without further ado, one more announcement. At 5K subs, which that's around the corner, I was saying literally the next couple of weeks I'm gonna be at 5K.
You think I'm playing?
We're doing a Q&A. Listen, a Q&A. So I'm gonna set up an email for you guys. Make sure you leave some questions down below for me to answer. Anything you want to ask. I want to help your curiosity out. You feel me? So let's go ahead and jump into this video right here. I was slightly triggered. Because he said why there hasn't been a classic rap album in the past 10 years. I don't know if he's trolling. I feel like it's very clickbaity. Because you trying to tell me any of Kendrick projects don't count as classics? What? You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna throw. I can mention Drake and stuff, but let me suspend my judgment for the moment, just so I can watch this person's video. You feel me? And then on top of that, it's gonna open up some commentary down below. So let's go ahead and jump into this video. Let's get it.
What up, though? I'm HipHopDX, and this is the breakdown. Classic.
Okay.
One of the most overused terms in hip hop, and why
It is overused.
there hasn't been a classic rap album in the last 10 years. Let's break it down.
Why there hasn't? I mean, I'm agreeing with you that the term is overused, but why it hasn't been?
Have y'all heard that new Ye? It's a classic. Kendrick and Cole been dropping classics back to back. Cudi, he been dropping classics since day one. Everyone has heard those phrases. But what does the term classic actually mean? There are classic cars, which by most automobile association standards is a car over 20 years old. There's classical music, which is commonly used to describe any music composed hundreds of years ago by old Europeans.
It's basically a test of time. Time has to be
just one period from that style of music, which lasted roughly from 1750 to 1830 and was preceded by the Baroque era and followed by the Romantic. Anyway, there's also classic rock, which generally means rock from the mid-60s to the late 80s. But there are also modern artists like Jack White, Gary Clark Jr., the Black Keys, and Kings of Leon, who are considered by some to be classic rock because they have a similar sound, even though they aren't from that era. I'm hoping the term classic rap or classic hip hop will do away with the term backpack rap. Albums like Primo and Royce's Prime 1 and 2 are examples of new relevant music with a classic sound. Or for young MCs like Ruben Vincent or Bishop Nehru, who have a classic feel but are definitely products of the new era. Once again,
I haven't checked him out in a long time.
Let's get back into it and hop into the dictionary.com definition of classic. Classic, judged over a period of time to be the highest quality and outstanding of its kind. Boom, over a period of time.
Exactly.
Not the day after it comes out. You need time for the artist to have peaks and valleys. I say it's about 10 years. You also need to allow time to see how the work has affected the landscape of the culture. Let's go back to classic cars for an example. Here's a Range Rover from 1998, which is technically now a classic. Here's one from 2008. Now here's one from 2018. The car gradually changes shape over the years until the old model is ruled clunky or obsolete. Then eventually, if you keep it clean and in running condition long enough, it's reborn as a classic. But cars are a luxury item. Were they to evolve drastically every year, the average consumer couldn't keep up. And it wouldn't be profitable for the auto industry to change their models every year like, say, cell phone companies do. And while music doesn't evolve as fast as cell phone technology, it definitely changes drastically decade to decade. Let's take a look at the top albums of 2007. According to Billboard, the top 10 albums of 2007 are as follows: Kingdom Come, Graduation, Inspiration, T.I. versus Tip, Curtis, Doctor's Advocate, Hip Hop is Dead.
Why was the gang
Like Father Like
name?
Son, and Eminem presents the re-up. Now, let's look at 2017. You have Damn,
Okay.
More Life, Stoney, Culture, Hamilton, an American Musical, and believe me, no one saw that coming back in 2007. Future, For Your Eyes Only, Views, Everybody, I Decided. As you can see, not one artist from the top 10 in 2007 made it into the top 10 of 2017. In just 10 years, the field changed completely. If that was that Range Rover, it would have went from an SUV to a convertible coupe.
I see what he's saying.
Why 10 years? Why not 5 years? Let's take a look at the Billboard charts from 2012. As you can see, it's still mixed. Ross, Wayne, Hov, and Nas are still present, but sliding down a bit, while Kendrick, Drake, Cole, and Future are just beginning their climb. Not enough time for a complete changing of the guard. But back to 2007, with that decade of perspective, how many classic albums do you see on this list? I say one, Graduation, that's it. But at the time, I'm sure you would have found a couple people arguing for other albums on this list. But why are we even having this argument at all? Where did the rush to call something a classic come from? Why can't we just be like other genres and enjoy an album for a few years?
I ain't gonna say, I'm gonna
for it
wait
to
till he
settle
finish
in,
talking.
then
I'm
one
gonna
day
say
look
something.
up and be like, hey, that's a pretty cool fucking record, man. It's pretty classic. In my opinion, it all started with the Source magazine and their much celebrated and often debated 5 mic rating, which they gave to denote a classic. They gave it to quite a few albums over the years, 43 to be exact, which included albums released from 1984 to 2005. By comparison, in that same amount of time, Rolling Stone magazine, which reviews all genres of music and was published twice a month, only gave 35 classic ratings. In hindsight, I feel it's safe to say the Source was a little loose with their classics.
I mean, it's all
the reviews in the
opinionated.
history of the Source magazine, I feel there were 2 in particular that drove this culture into its current state of classic craziness. Those reviews were the review of Dr. Dre's The Chronic and Nas's Illmatic. A couple of months before The Chronic hit the streets, it was reviewed in the Source and praised with a very solid rating of 4.5 mics, which is cool. But months later, when rookie sensation Nas was given a 5 mic classic rating for his debut 9-song LP, the hip hop community was in an uproar. The Chronic was made by Dr. Dre, who was already a hip hop legend, gave birth to G-Funk, a new label called Death Row, one of the biggest, if not the biggest star in hip hop, Snoop Dogg. Also stars like Corrupt, Daz, Lady of Rage, and Warren G. How could somebody's first album ever be called a classic? And one of the most important and highest selling albums in hip hop history miss being a certified classic by half a mic? Easy. The Source only got it half right. And in his interview with HipHopDX, former editor-in-chief of The Source, Reginald C. Dennis, admits that they dropped the ball on the Chronic review. However, they did get it right with Nas, calling it a certified classic 2 months before the general public got to hear it, and 20 plus years later, most hip hop heads will agree that Illmatic is still a classic album. These 2 reviews essentially created 2 different kind of hip hop heads. On the Chronic side of things, you have fools that are like, fuck it, the Source didn't get it right, so I'm gonna take matters into my own hands and start calling out classics as I see fit. On the Illmatic side of things, you have those who are inspired by the Source's foresight and ability to crown a classic that no one saw coming. This created the type of head that'll break their neck to be the first to listen to something just to say that they were the first to call it a classic. Whatever side you fall on, at this point, everyone in the hip hop community was a legit critic, and the advent of the internet only made it worse. Nowadays, when something's released at midnight Eastern Standard Time, it's hashtag classic before the sun even comes up. So is Daytona an instant classic like Black Twitter says? Is 444 a classic already? I got some young homies that'll say Rodeo by Travis Scott is a classic. It's not my cup of tea per se.
But
hey,
basically the
I
2
can't
things
deny
that he
the
said
impact.
are essentially
Maybe.
the same.
What about Section 80? Good Kid, Mad City? To
One
Pimp a
that just-
Butterfly? And damn, Mr. Lamar seems to be outdoing himself every album. Will his future classics out-classic his old classics? Honestly, who knows? Only time will tell. Look, we all know we have albums that we love every song on today that we won't feel the same about next year. We also know there are albums that take a couple years to grow on you. And I think today I've proven to you that a decade is enough
Hey.
time to let it breathe before you
Whoever
try to call
synced some of this
something a classic.
audio, it sounds a little
But
off
I've
from his
also come up
mouth.
with some solid criteria to help clear up the classic confusion. And this week, I put it in black and white for y'all. To most of y'all, a classic is if you constantly listen to an album and it still slap, it's a classic. No. The true definition is content, longevity, artistry, sound, style, and innovation equals a classic. You might say hell yeah. You might say fuck no. Let's talk about it in the comments below.
I kind of
always,
agree.
For more music and news, check out HipHopDX.com.
You know what that last thing he said? I agree with like both of them, like in terms of like when he broke down like with the acronyms of the letters within classic. The first one, it makes sense from the masses perspective. That's how majority of the populace will see it. But obviously I lean more towards the second one because I care about sound. If I'm an artist myself, you know, I write, I do poetry. If I'm an artist myself, then I care about longevity. I care about retention. I care about the quality of it, right? To give off that classic feel. I mean, of course you want replay value, but that's like secondary to what you actually need to focus on. Something can have replay value and be trash. You see what I'm saying? But in terms of classic to me, right? Like it makes sense, but reason why I think people are so quick to give out classics is because the day and age we live in. We live in a faster day and age. Technology is just readily at our hands. Music comes out so quickly. We don't have to go to the store and buy it. Things are just so quick, you know, in terms of you know, radar thinking, you know, people, they learn and they forget. They listen to something and they on to the next. So and on top of that, the game has expanded. It's so many different rappers and music. Even if you want to get out there in terms of like TV shows and stuff like that, it's so much out there in the world. It's basically the game is saturated. So the idea of someone being able to listen to something and be fire, in comparison to everything that's out there in the world, it makes sense for them to really throw out that term. It's a classic. You know why they say it's a classic? It's a classic in comparison to all the other garbage that they probably listen to.
That is correct.
But if you take that out the equation, yes, it is overused because the idea of classic, it has to stand the test of time. If you call something a classic when it first comes out, then what do you call it within the next 5 years? You call it a classic still? Or you call it more of a classic? It doesn't really make sense. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, people need to do away with the term, even within the battle rap world, because that's what I'm in as well. People, oh man, we put on the classic. How can you tell the audience and the fans and the people you put on the classic and the battle haven't even dropped? The battle just came out, or the battle just happened this year. Let a year go by, at least, or 2 years. People call something a classic because it's doing numbers.
What?
But anyways, man, I'm done, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Hit the bell to be notified. Hit that sub button. Sub up to the Hockey Game. And if you're new to the channel, listen, at 5K subs, 5K, I don't know why I'm holding up this, don't worry about it, but at 5K subs, we're doing a Q&A like I said in the beginning of the video. Send some questions down below.
Perfect.
Hit up my email, send me something. Let me tackle and answer all of your curiosities that you have about your boy Jamal. Check out the affiliate links down below. It's Jamal_Hockey. And I'm gonna see you guys on the next reaction video. So, peace out.